Welcome to the Call to Harmony, where we explore the inner journey to oneness with self, others, and the divine. Okay, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. We're going to do something fun today. I'm excited. You don't know what it is yet, but it's coming. Tucker's going to kind of start off by sharing some stories or a story about this concept of kind of going beyond our minds, which we've talked about and touched on in previous episodes, but that we sometimes maybe have these barriers that prevent us from doing things that we've told ourselves that we can't do, whether that's physically or mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So I'm excited to hear Tucker's story and then have you guys do a little experiment with us.
Yeah. Thanks, Savannah. Yeah. So I really do think there's something to what we're going to talk about today. I might call it the stillness solution. And let me explain what that means. That seems like very formal for what we're going to do. But so often, I find myself hitting up against barriers in my mind. Maybe in relationships, I'm like, I just can't break through this barrier in this relationship. And it's not the other person. When I'm really mindful about it, I can tell that I have some barriers inside me. Or maybe it's a physical barrier and I have just labeled something about myself that I can't do. Well, this is what happened this week, Savannah. I do this morning yoga routine where I get up and it's my way of just waking up and kind of embodying, getting in my body, and I love it. So I started doing this yoga stretch that I've done so many times, and I decided to just relax deeper into it. Instead of straining, just seeing what happened if I just focused on relaxation. And so I would stretch, just listen to where my mind said, that's the limit. And then I would relax and then just go a little bit deeper into it. But I wasn't hurting myself, which is key to what we're about to talk about. This isn't me like gritting my way past my mind's limits. I would just stop where my body said stop, and then I would relax. And that limit would kind of dissolve and I'd go a little bit further and then a little bit further. And all of a sudden, I was like, hey, what's happening? I'm touching the bottom of my foot. I've never been able to do this in this stretch before. And it wasn't hurting me. My mind was telling me earlier, you're going to spring a tendon. You are absolutely forbidden from doing this, is what my mind would say. And now I'm just feeling relaxed and enjoying this stretch. So I started to wonder, what are the implications of this? First of all, before we get to that, let's do something fun. And Savannah, right here on the podcast, what if we practice it? You've never tried this.
No, I have not. And my hamstrings have no give. So this will be fun.
Have no give? Well, let's see if this works for you. So I actually have done this with a bunch of people since I first did it. I've experimented with maybe 20 people or so, and I keep seeing people break these barriers. So this is what I'll invite Savannah to do. In fact, our listeners, we'll invite you to do this too. I think we'll probably post this on the Call to Harmony YouTube channel so you guys can watch Savannah just break all kinds of human barriers. Yeah, but what we're practicing doing is going beyond our minds. And then we'll talk about the implications of this. So we're going to pause. We're going to change our camera angles so that we can try this out.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, we are back and we're sitting on the floor. So now we're just going to try a little experiment here. We're just going to do a stretch to practice going beyond the limits of our mind. So Savannah, I'll just have you take a piece of tape. You got that blue tape there. And don't strain yourself. Don't bounce, you could pull a muscle if you try to bounce forward. But just reach as far as you can naturally reach where your mind says to you, okay, that's the limit right there. And then just place that tape on your leg where that limit is. Oh, you're already super flexible. Look at you.
Sorry. I didn't pull on this morning.
All right, let's go. That's totally allowed. And then once you've got that laid where your natural spot is, just go ahead and hold it right there. Keep your hands there so you may be touching the edge of the tape and just feel the stretch for a second. Now, remember what we're going to practice here is not straining to break mind limits like we usually do. There's so much we do to break through limits. We grind, we work, we strain, we strive. But instead of that, we're just going to take a really deep breath and we're going to just be really still inside and then relax and see if our body and mind let us go a little bit further, okay? Here we go, Savannah. Take a deep breath, relax really deeply. Don't worry about stretching at this point, but just as you exhale, go ahead and relax into the stretch. And just hold it, stay there, enjoy the feeling of the stretch. Remember, this is a relaxation exercise, not trying to compete with anyone or beat anything or prove anything. We're just relaxing into it. Take another deep breath. Release it and relax a little bit deeper into the stretch. Notice where in your body most of the stretch is happening and just pay attention to it. We're not going to hurt you or strain anything. We're just going to relax again, even deeper into this. Go ahead and take that other breath and go deeper into the stretch. And again, we're not straining, we're not bouncing, we're not lunging. We're just taking a deep breath and relaxing even deeper into the stretch. Just enjoy the feeling of being in your body. And go ahead and take a deep breath and relax even deeper into the stretch. If it starts to hurt or strain, back off a little bit and just remember this is a relaxation exercise, not a competition or anything. Take another deep breath, relax into it. And your mind might start fighting with you a little bit and saying, no, we can't go past this. This is the absolute limit. And just thank your mind for taking care of you. You might even say, thank you, mind, and take another deep breath and relax even deeper. We'll do it 2 more times. Deep breath, genuine relaxation. One more. And let's just look where you are versus where you started. Savannah, as I look at you, you're probably 5 inches past where you started.
Yeah.
And are you feeling pain?
I mean, I can feel it stretched down the back of my legs, but not as much as I normally do when I hold that position for that
Right.
long.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting thing where you just went 5 inches past what your mind says was the limit.
Yeah.
Like, that just blows my mind. Like, how is that even possible? For me, I've always considered myself an inflexible person. Like when we do stretches in PE growing up, I would just feel so embarrassed because I'd look around at everybody and I would do that bobbing thing where you kind of dive for your toes so I could like really try to prove I'm not the worst. And I ever since then, I've just been like, I guess I'm just not flexible.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of this simple reason. I just thought that flexibility came through striving, through pushing, through gritting. And I also thought that just genetically, I couldn't be flexible.
Yeah.
And just this week, like these barriers just started to break for me. And so I started to wonder, wait, what other applications of this are there? And things like taking a cold shower, I started to slowly change the temperature colder and colder until I was in really cold water. I'm in the mountains of Utah and it's super cold, but my body was totally okay.
Yeah.
And there's so many applications to this, but the important underlying commonality is this: our minds will set up barriers for us to try to protect us, to keep us safe. And those barriers are often not true limits. And so if we can relax past those barriers, we can do things, accomplish things that we otherwise couldn't do. And so this has implications for sports, for dancing, for music, for performance, for work. It has implications for relationships, has implications for, I mean, you name it. Our mind is probably going to put limits on us to try to keep us safe. And if we can relax into stillness, then we'll be able to break those limits.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying here is when we can become aware enough of our own limits and say, okay, there's a limit right there, that is actually an opportunity to reach for stillness and release and see if we can go a little bit past it. What is coming to your mind as possible applications or ways that this could be useful for you, Savannah?
Yeah. This may seem silly, but I tell myself I can't read. I mean, I can read. I know how to read, but I
Mhm.
tell myself that I'm not a reader.
Mm.
Um, which seems silly and maybe like it doesn't matter that much, but I'm in school right now and I need to read. And and obviously reading textbooks are different than maybe reading other books that people enjoy reading a little bit more.
Yeah.
But even then I'm like, oh, I just am not a good I just I can't sit still for that long. I get too tired, all these different things happen, but I think that I'm probably putting limits on myself just by repeating that to myself all of the time in any type of reading situation, whether it's like for, pleasure and just kind of, more recreational type reading versus,
Yeah.
school reading. But that was one of the first things that came to my mind. But I was just reminded of an experience I had from like running and training for races. I used to tell myself that I could not run without music. If I didn't have music playing, I wasn't going to be able to run well or run as fast or run as long. And I trained that way for a really long time. And then I don't know what happened one year. I was training for a race and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna take some time to be quiet on these runs because it would take me so long to run that it was like, I'll take like a mile, to not have any music and just kind of be quiet. And a mile would turn into 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, longer miles. And I ended up running my fastest race with probably 80% of it didn't have any music on. And I like that experience kind of just reminded me of this of like, oh my gosh, for so long I told myself I had to have music. I couldn't do as well without it. And I did actually much better without it at one point. So anyway, it's just interesting to see what stories or narratives are we telling ourselves, creating these limits, and to some degree, maybe they're true to a portion, like,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, physically you can go so far, but there are, there's some more wiggle room that I think that we realize.
Yeah, absolutely. When our mind tells us something, we just normally believe it's true and we don't realize it's a limit. So when we pause and we say, okay, so what is my mind telling me right now? That's the first part of this is recognizing a limit or a story, a narrative that your mind is saying, this is as far as this can go. And once you can step back and recognize that, then the possibility opens up for relaxation and stillness to help you go past it.
This exercise just made me realize, okay, I should just be more aware of when I'm telling myself I can't, or no, no, stop. That's your limit. That's what you can do, and take that opportunity to relax into that and see, you know, how much further I could go. Not
Yeah.
forcing it, but allowing, those limits to kind of come down in my mind to go beyond them.
Yep. It's a great example. The other day I was driving my car and the kids were super loud, yelling, screaming, and I could feel my tolerance meter like going up or down. I don't know which way it is, but like hitting the max.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I can't handle this. And then I realized, oh, there's a limit there that my mind is telling me I have. And instead of like trying to change my kids' behavior in the moment, I was like, I wonder if I can just relax past this. And so I just took a deep breath and relaxed past it. And all of a sudden I had increased tolerance,
Uh-huh.
capacity to like sit with it. I was
Yeah.
like, wait a second, this, that was way too easy. I've always tried to, force myself to be a good parent, force myself to be patient, force myself in those types of situations. And our minds resist force, but our minds let go in the face of resistance. And they have such a great capacity if we will use our minds in the way they want to be used, right? Rather than gritting through things. So we've done some we did a physical practice with stretching, but let's try a mental, emotional, spiritual practice to see if we can allow ourselves to stretch in a way into stillness that we haven't before. Oftentimes, I've heard people put limits like, oh, I can't meditate, or I can't sit still, or I can't really find inner peace because my mind's just going too fast. And those are exactly the type of limits that our minds set for us, but they're the exact type of limits that we can relax past and get into that place beyond our minds where opportunities and transformation opens up. So let's try that really quick. Let's take 3 or 4 deep breaths. And as we do, just sink into our bodies, feel what you're feeling, if there are any aches or pains. Notice the pleasurable feeling on the in-breath of fresh air and the relaxing feeling that goes throughout your body on the out-breath. And then just become very aware of your inner world. What feelings are here right now? Take a moment to notice and name the feelings that are present, whether it's nervousness, agitation, relaxation, peace, contentedness, anxiety, sadness. Whatever the feelings are, just take a moment to name them and locate where they are in your body. And if there are any uncomfortable sensations there, any uncomfortable feelings that you would rather not face or process or deal with right now, and if it's not too intense, just pick one of those feelings. Notice where it is in your body. Remind yourself the name of that feeling. And if you don't have a good name for it, you could just call it unease or discomfort. And our mind will put limits on us naturally, saying, I don't want to feel that, or I can't feel that right now. And just notice that limit. That's our tape line. And now just take a deep breath, relaxing breath, and allow yourself to feel that feeling even more deeply, to accept it even more deeply. keep your focus on that feeling. Be present with it. Notice if it's changing or shifting with your relaxation, and let's just relax more deeply into it. Be curious about it. Is it shifting? Is it changing? Is it growing? Is it shrinking? And whatever it's doing, just allow it to do what it needs to do as you stay with it. And we'll take another deep, relaxing breath and just accept the feeling fully, even more fully than we have to this point. Let's take one more deep breath and relax into that sensation, that feeling. You may notice as your acceptance deepens, so does your stillness, so does your capacity. And go ahead, we'll wrap up that practice. If you want to pause and keep going with this and expanding your acceptance, you can practice with other feelings that are arising. But this practice can be really powerful and transformative way to deal with unpleasant things that you don't want to deal with. And this is my experience. As I become completely accepting and open, those uncomfortable feelings, they actually start to transform into positive energy. So after I did the stretching thing the other morning, I did something just like what we just did. And I was like, well, I wonder if this works with like mindfulness, with processing my feelings. And I had a really uncomfortable feeling. And so I was like, I'm going to try it right here. I'm going to relax past this boundary that my mind is setting. And I did it over and over and over. And maybe 5 or 6 relaxing breaths in, all of a sudden the feeling just completely transformed into positive energy. It was like a Rumpelstiltskin moment, maybe, where the straw transforms to gold, or do you remember the Back to the Future movie when at the end of the first movie, Doc comes back in the DeLorean, which flies now, and it used to run on lightning or uranium, plutonium, something like that. And Doc like goes over the garbage can and he pulls like banana peel and a soda can out and he puts them in the gas tank, which is now called Mr. Fusion. And that's what now powers the DeLorean. Anyway, that was a long description. That's what I felt like was happening as I was practicing this. I was like deepening my acceptance, and all of a sudden, these negative feelings were transforming into positive energy.
Mm,
And I was like, whoa, this has like really powerful application for me as I just relax past the mind limits
yeah.
and allow myself to feel things that my mind otherwise won't allow me to feel. So, Savannah, this is fun. Thanks for thanks for coming along for the ride on this. Do you have any thoughts, questions, comments on the implications of maybe going beyond our mind through relaxation rather than grit?
Yeah, I think it kind of is the opposite of the way that I was raised. Just and people just telling me like, just push through and you just kind of find a way and make it work and all of these different things and that's how I lived my life for a long time. And then I was introduced to people who struggled with depression actually. And for a long time in my life, I didn't really think that mental health was like these illnesses like depression or anxiety. It just kind of I thought it was made up because that's the way I was taught. And then I met people who actually couldn't just force their way through. And it was some of my first experiences realizing like, whoa, this is like I don't think you can actually just force your way through a lot of things, like I thought. And it's crazy how much of a turn I've taken. I'm now, in the mental health field and trying to become a therapist. And
Yeah.
obviously I really believe in those things now. But also just trying to accept for myself that I don't have to just force everything. And I'm trying to really embrace that now. And these practices have been super helpful for me of trying not to just make something work. And I still tend to do it just because I just want things to work, and I want them to work out how I want, and I want to be in control. And I think part of this practice of harmony and stillness, there's aspects that we have to let go of, which is really hard for me, but also really, I think, beneficial. So I think I want to, yeah, just continue practicing these things because I think it's allowing me to let go so that I can relax and go beyond places that I didn't think I could go, which is what I'm trying to do in the first place of forcing it, but it's just not working. So I think that this is maybe a more realistic way of actually getting to where I'm trying to go, in my mind or in my body, but it feels a little unnatural just because that's not how I was, it's not how I've done it for my entire life. So
Yeah,
it
absolutely well said. Uh, I recognize that in myself too. I've always thought that the way to get what I want in life is just to work my guts out until I get it. It's
Mhm.
almost a little bit the American dream, right? Like you can have whatever you want as long as you work hard enough to get
Of
there.
course. Yeah.
And so I think we're conditioned by this, or we're conditioned to think and see things like this. Is just work your way into it. Look at this success story of this person that worked so hard to get where they went or to get where they are. And so I think, yeah, it's all around us in society. And so this feels like you're going against the current to just relax and see what happens. And yet there's so many wisdom traditions. There's so many, I mean, I'm having quotes come to my head like the Tao Te Ching says, practice non-doing and everything will fall into place. And Jesus says, consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin.
Mm.
And there's just all of these witnesses out there that are like, hey, if you can relax into this, you'll have connection to a higher power, a greater force than your mind, which is totally limited and limiting. And it's trying to help you, keep you safe. But if you can relax beyond your mind, transformation, possibilities, power will open up.
Yeah.
And so we're glad we got to share this with everybody today. We hope it's inspiring and helpful to you. And we would love to hear any applications that come to you of how you can move beyond the limits, relax beyond the limits, find the stillness beyond the limits of our mind, and make real progress in life in ways that we didn't think was possible.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, guys.
We'll catch you next time.
See ya. Thank you for listening, and we hope you will join us next time on The Call to Harmony.